Hey everyone, just did my affliction guide. I'm going to do my demo guide here for you guys, so I have all three specs out there for you. We're just going to get right into this, get this done for you guys. Maybe make a shorter guide here for you. Quick thing is Azurite. Standard setup is going to be your triple explosion, or triple, yeah, explosive potential, triple balefire, baleful. This will just give you your biggest tyrants. For this build, you're going to run World Vein Major with VOP Minor, and then I like Lucid for more shards, Breath of the Dying, or Formless Void for your corruption resistance. Just test, do your sim, see what percent uptime you need on Formless Void to beat Breath of the Dying. You might never beat it, but there's a test you can do there to see what's going to be your best. I'm going to mention a couple other builds. So the other build would be for PvP would be triple Shadow Bite and then either triple EP, triple Baleful, uh, whatever you want to do there. So triple Shadow Bite really good for PvP. For PvP's build, you're going to run a VOP Major build. And probably like this, something like this, and you're gonna be just generating a lot of shards, spawning a lot of imps, and using Shadow Bite to with all your Demon Bolts to do more consistent damage as your Demon Lock in PvP. You obviously can run the last build with the World Vein, and you can just go for big Tyrants in PvP. However, that is kind of really easily counterable by line of sight CC on the Tyrant. So I would say probably run the more consistent. If you can run it, run the triple Shadow Bite build for PvP. If you want to play some Demon and have some fun in PvP, I think that's the better build. Um, the last one is the triple Supreme or double Supreme Command, one Demonic Meteor, and triple Baleful build. That build is going to be the old build of last year. I wouldn't suggest playing it, but if you wanted to, you run the VOP build. It's literally the same build as last year. VOP, your best DPS miners, and you're just going to basically have a lot more RNG. But obviously this procs off your VOP proc, so it could be really good and it can get some good DPS. You might see this build come out towards the end of it when people are going for rank 1 parses and everything. You might start seeing this build more commonly come out because if you get the nuts, it could be really high energy because VOP works that way where, you're doing a fight like Ma or Skitra that's really short, or Rathion that can be really short once people have a lot of damage and a lot of corruption. This might come out where you just get like some nutty VOP procs into a really crazy Tyrant that's going to do, like 6-7 million damage, and there's no way World Vein could keep up with it because you just RNG'd everything into this one Tyrant, so you might see that build. I wouldn't suggest playing it. It's not, my opinion, not gonna be that fun, but there you go. Quick thing for trinkets: Manifesto is great. Stack the crit into your Tyrant. Vita is my second one. Get haste into your Tyrant, really good. Font, not amazing. Bag is okay if you don't have a Manifesto. Shredder can be good. I don't love it. I just like the Vita more, so I just run Vita. For corruption, pretty standard for all specs. Your best one, obviously all the stat ones are going to be, pretty good for Warlock. All your stats are great. Your Tyrant abuses all of them. Mastery and Verse are just direct damage increases. Crit, obviously, your Tyrant crits based on your crit. And Haste, your Tyrant does take your haste into consideration on its haste. So you'll see with, Lust, Berserking, Overwhelming Power, Vita procs, your EP up, you'll have so much haste and your Tyrant will just have almost no casting time and it'll just blast. So that's good. So obviously all the haste, all the percentage ones are great. All the proc ones can be good. Those are ones you just have to sim and see how you value. The proc ones, tendies are pretty good. Obviously Infinite Stars is okay. I don't think your proc rate is amazing on Infinite Stars, so you could earn it, but tendies, Infinite Stars is pretty good. I don't know if I would suggest it. The one I would suggest the most is actually Void Ritual. it's going to be your most insane one because it gives you all of the stats that I'm saying. And if you get a proc of Void Ritual in your Tyrant, I mean, your Tyrant's just going to do crazy, crazy damage. So how I would value it is I would say haste percents are probably your best because it's basically free stats because you're getting almost like you're getting majority of your haste from EP because you'll see here if you look at my gear, I obviously have all the haste enchants, which obviously does add a lot of value, or haste gems and enchants, which does add a lot of value. But I actually only have 2 pieces of haste, which is this one ring and my gloves that have actual flat haste on them, and then the one haste percent. So you'll see that if I go through all my gear, I don't have a lot of haste on my gear. It's just the gems and I'm sitting at 22%. I'm sitting at almost 1500 rating. So obviously a lot of that comes from the necklace and cloak and everything. But I don't have a lot of haste on my gear, so you're gonna get a lot of your haste from your explosive potential, obviously. And then having haste percents kind of just like this basically becomes, with multiple haste percents, this becomes from 600 to 700 to 800 to 1000 haste rating per trait, and it's just insane. So haste percent's kind of a little free. Void Ritual's really nice if you have a one or two of those, and you can kind of like play around with those. So those are kind of my suggestions for corruption. Infinite Stars could be good. Tentacles could be good. Play with what you have. Play around with what you have. Sim it. It'll always be sim. But if you just want to kind of like play around, just try what you have and see what you can do. That's how you have fun with corruption. Is try what you have and see what you can do with what you have, and yeah, it can be fun from there. Because obviously, like I say this because you might sim your gear, and you always might sim higher with Infinite Stars. But every time you play with Infinite Stars, it never performs as well as you think. Try the stat ones. The stat ones might turn out better than you think, and it might be more enjoyable and actually play better. So that's what I would say. Just try it. Try what you have. That's the point of corruption. If you have the pieces, try it. You'll see I have all this corruption in my gear, in my bags. I'm saving it all because I play around with it. I try different things. And yeah, we're just testing everything. So get that's gear. That is everything. Oh, the one thing I do want to mention about corruption is tendies. I want to mention it one more time because there is a build in PvP you can run right now where if you're running the Shadow Bites trait for more consistent damage, you run VOP Major as your essence, and your goal is just to spam out imps with all the nameplates that you have. If people aren't tracking them correctly, and a lot of PvPers don't track this correctly, is you can get a tentacle proc with all those plates, and they'll never be able to. They might see that it's happening with the mind flay coming out, but they'll never be able to find it and kill it if they spawns on you. So you can run a lot of twisted appendage traits, and then just play basically a zoo kind of warlock build with demo, and you can just spawn a couple tendies, and then as soon as you spawn one, you can CC Tyrant and just try and kill someone. I've tried it. It can work. It's not super consistent, but it's fun, especially if games go on long. Eventually, you will start getting procs, and if you get one or two of them, or if you get two or more into one person, they can just die. Even one with enough. Like I have a lot of tendies. I have tendies here on my belt. I have tendies on my boots, and then I have two different pieces here. I have a tier 2 piece of tendies, and I actually have a tier 3 piece that I don't have in my inventory right now. I have it in my bank right now because I'm just using the tier 2s. So you can have a lot of tendy damage on your gear, and if you do, you can try and tease people with it, and it can be a lot of fun. It can kind of be little gimmicky and everything. So yeah, pretty fun. The one other thing I'll mention about PvP is your honor talents. Master Summoner, Fel, Hunter, don't touch those. Those are your standard. This is the only thing you change. Netherward is your pretty much go-to for us casters. Call Fel Lord will be your go-to against melee. You could try and use Call Observer if you're not getting a lot of focus. Like if you've faced this team before, or you play a few games against casters and none of them are ever attacking you. You're like, well, I'm just gonna play Call Observer. Well, that could be good because obviously if you're not getting targeted, Netherward loses value. Call Observer will gain value. Against Destrolocks or Fire Mages, I would say think about running Cursive Tongues. Really good against Polys and Greater Pyroblast. Really good against Chaos Bolt. And it can help out a lot. Save your team because they might think to get I'm gonna get a couple of bolts off here before they can react Well, actuality, they only get one bolt off, and then you can deal with the second one before it even gets out. So, and then the last thing I'll mention is pleasure through pain. On that PvP build with tendies, you could think about running this for more shadow damage and cast speed on your shadow bolt to generate shards faster. Um, you will this will obviously you'll lose Felguard, so you'll have to swap some talents around that I'll go in here in a second, and it can be you know uh, pretty decent. So think about that if you ever wanted to try that. And now we're gonna get into some talents here. Um, for your first row for PvE, demonic strength is pretty much I think the go-to for a lot of people. It's really strong. It works really well with the 1 minute build because you basically every time you have demonic strength, you'll have a tyrant, and the tyrant will buff the demonic strength with its um, demonic power passive that you get. Um, I just said it, the 15% damage. This will buff demonic strength to do 15% more damage, which is really nice. Um, this is there's this is good and really consistent and pretty good, are really good, and it's fun. I prefer Bile Scourge. The only time I would say Demonic Strength is guaranteed to be better is based on how you're pulling a Mythic Plus dungeon, because this is where the contention comes. Single target, just use Demonic Strength. It'll be better. It'll be more consistent because you're lining up with tyrants anyways. Um, in Mythic Plus, if you're doing like for example, if you're doing let's say a freehold and you're playing Demo instead of Destro, the first pull is like usually the full 3 packs, and you're bursting and anyway, demonic strength would be better because you're never gonna press Bile Scourge at the start of that pull, then wait 30 seconds to get another full value Bile Scourge. By the time you get that second Bile Scourge, mobs will have died, and you'll lose value on the second one. So demonic strength would be better. However, and then obviously freeholds is usually a lot of constant big pulls. You're gonna tyrant a lot of them. So for example, that. Now, a different example would be a Taldazar. A Taldazar doesn't have a lot of big pulls. It has a few. However, where demonic strength would be value. However, there are a lot of consistent, like medium to smallish pulls, and I think Bile Scourge gains a lot of value there because you're going from pull to pull. You're not gonna have tyrant for every pull, and you could have Bile Scourge for every pull, and you'll gain a lot of value off of it. So that is the difference between me and Bile Scourge. I think they're both very comparable. You obviously can't look at one compared to the other. You have to look at 2 Bile Scourges to 1 demonic strength based on the cooldown. Usually demonic strength will be better. However, if you do, I would say just play some dungeons with demonic strength, see how it goes, see how you like it. Play some dungeons with Bile Scourge, see how it performs, see if you like it. If you don't have a preference, kind of just see, obviously do it multiple times. Test it on every single dungeon, or just dungeons where you think demonic strength would be better, or where you think Bile Scourge would be better, based on how you know the dungeon is played out and how the pulls are gonna go. That is what you want to do there. For PvE, only run Demonic Calling. You'll never run anything else. For PvP, Power Siphoning can be really good because you have Master Summoner, so you're not gonna need you're not gonna need the Demonic Calling instant cast. So you could do it for one shard. I think this is better. This will give you more shards. If you're running Shadow's Bite, you really should run this because this will give you more Demon Bolts, and that's how you want the trait, because you want to pump as many Demon Bolts into that trait bonus damage as you can for max damage. If you are running the Pleasure is Pain, you could actually think about Dreadlash, because Dreadlash, obviously, if you don't want to run Bile Scourge for whatever reason, you could think about Dreadlash in PvP. I just wanted to mention that. For the 45 roll, Demon Skin, PvP, Burning Rush, pretty much the go-to for PvE because of the mobility. In Mythic Plus, you'll always use this basically. Dark Pack for really high keys where when you want some extra tankiness, or in any situation, best boss I can give you is Shadhar. You don't move a lot in that boss. If you never get targeted by an ad, or if you do and you just demonic circle it, you really don't have a lot of movement, so you can just run Dark Pack to help your healers out, save some damage. It can be really good. So situations like that is where you want to use Dark Pack over Burning Rush, low movement or no movement, and just use it to help your healers out. You almost for the 60 roll, you almost always use Strike almost in any of the PvE builds, Mythic Plus rating, any of those. But for PvP, if you're using the Pleasure's Pain Honor talent, you obviously can't run this, so you can run Friendly Shadows or Summon Vile Fiend. Either one is fine. Obviously, that's the only time you'll ever use From the Shadows. Other than that, Summon Vile Fiend with Grimoire and Nether Portal down here that I'll talk about later is the only time you'll use Summon Vile Fiend. Other than that, for the 75 row, ignore Dark Fury. There's too many CCs in the game. He's not valuable enough. Look at Mortal Coil. It's about the same healing as a Health Stone. So you can use it as that in rating and in Mythic Plus and everything. You could also use it obviously for the actual Horrify effect to interrupt things that can't be interrupted or are on DR from stuns and stuff. And then obviously Demonic Circle, really, really good for mobility in rating and Mythic Plus and even in PvP. So yeah, really good, really solid, pretty good. I'll talk about Grimoire first. Grimoire with Summon Vile Fiend can be paired with Netherward. It's okay in PvP as well for the stun. However, for PvP and right now for the current build, Inner Demons can actually be really good and really consistent. Because Soul Conduit, if you're going for like Tyrants on your 1 minute Tyrant, sometimes Soul Conduit just won't proc, or it'll proc one shard, and actually is not valuable. It's actually like a loss or flat even line, like it doesn't do anything for you. So Soul Conduit can actually be pretty bad, where Inner Demon is kind of just more consistency. However, with Soul Conduit, it will be has a higher upside where Inner Demon doesn't, right? Inner Demon won't give you the crazy turns where Soul Conduit will. So I would still say run Soul Conduit, but if you want more consistency, Inner Demons is pretty good. Lastro, Sacrifice Souls, pretty useless. Netherward, not really that great. There is a build, like I said, but I wouldn't even try it. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Just run Demonic Consumption, buff your tyrants, get those big tyrants, and have some fun. It'll be your best. It'll be your go-to, and it's actually a lot of fun, in my opinion. So there you go. There's talents, there's gear, there's trinkets, essences. That's everything. I'm just going to go into some quick gameplay, show you guys this 1 minute build real quick, so you can see what I've learned and how to play it. So we're just gonna be like in the middle of a fight. You're gonna be rolling. So we'll do this one basic here. I'm just gonna wait until my Dreadstalkers fall off here. So this is how you're gonna go. You're gonna have 5 shards. You're gonna have 2 demonic cores. You're gonna have your EP. So you're gonna cast 1 Hand of Gul'dan into demonic, and then you're gonna pre-cast World Vein. And obviously, I wouldn't have pre-casted it that early. But that's what you want to do. You can get 1 cast in between World Vein and Tyrant. So if you World Vein, hand into Tyrant. So I'm going to go over that without actually playing it so I can go over it. So you'll see I had 5 shards. I had my EP stack. My EP buff, I had 5 shards. I had 2 demonic core procs. You hand demonic into Demon Bolt, into hand, so this would be perfect. I would now obviously rapidly I'd press World Vein, I'd cast this hand, and then I'd Tyrant. Now obviously I got 2 shards, and that is technically valuable, but if I cast this, I'm losing value from any of the imps I had before, so you just go straight into your Tyrant. So that is how you want to work. You can always fit, and obviously there is a world where you just World Vein into Tyrant, like if you don't have any shards left. But if you're getting a lot of shards, and you're getting lucky with your Tyrant, your shard refunds, you could fit in 1 hand before the Tyrant after pressing World Vein. So I'll show it here again. So we're going to get my EP buff up because you want to make sure you have that. So then we're going to go EP, Demon Bolt, or hand, Demon Bolt, hand, World Vein, hand, Tyrant, and then everything. Now obviously it wasn't that great because I was being slow and talking through it, but that is the idea, is you can fit 1 hand in between the Tyrant. So yeah, there you go, and that's how you can get, that's how you can do that. Obviously, and then obviously, like I said, you can just go, like here, you can just go hand into Demon Bolts, into hand, Demon Bolts, into hand, Demon Bolts, and then I could go here, press that, and then like this into Tyrant, and it would be really nice, and it would be probably better. Um, but yeah, if you're getting a lot of shards, like a ton, you can try and throw down World Vein a little earlier to save yourself the global, and then hand into Tyrant, and that'll be a better. That'll give you like that one additional imp set into the Tyrant. So yeah, there you go. Um, for thoughts on the spec, I do want to give my thoughts. I give my thoughts in the affliction guide. I might make a Destro one later. But for thoughts on Demo going into Shadowlands, actually, like I said, I like it a lot. Obviously there are some talents. I'd love to see Nether Portal maybe get re-looked at or reworked. It doesn't need to get removed per se, but I'd love to see it get reworked. Sacred Festivals definitely needs a rework. Um, Grimoire is okay. From the Shadows, Dreadlash, I think it needed help. Doom needs help. Um, some Vile Fiend Felguard are hard to say because they're fit into the Nether Portal build so well. But I don't know if Nether Portal got reworked. Maybe you want to look at Grimoire and Summon Vile Fiend. I think Power 7 truly does need maybe some help. It's a little lackluster. Um, Other than that, maybe you want to look at demonic consumption. I have talked about like so I don't mind the build how it is. Um, but the problem I think that Demo's going to run into is if you remove the 1 minute. So unless you're going to go into Shadowlands and you're going to make Demonology the 1 minute build or the 1 minute 30 CD build where you just like VOP is gone, but we're gonna make summon Demonic Tyrant a 1 minute 30, a 1 minute cooldown baseline. Unless you're doing it like that, the build is going to run into problems where imps just don't hit very hard. They just don't hit very hard, and so you could go back. You could if you want, you could remove demonic consumption, or you could change demonic consumption to, um, you know, buff imp's base damage, and then make demonic consumption more, you know, if you want to like run more of a zoo build where you just hard buffing your imps and your dreads, like basically almost back to the like old Legion where you're giving them more haste and damage and everything based. You could do something like that. And make Tyrant less of a damage Tyrant and more just like a commander that is just hard buffing all of your imps to do crazy damage for that select period of time. You could do something like that. But then again, if you're going to do that, I feel like it should just be based on Nether Portal, where instead of just buffing all of these imps like crazy, like that's I would say keep demonic consumption how it is. I do think it's going to lose a lot of value because of how we're going to lose. But then obviously I think Nether Portal should be like perked up a little bit to be more consistent and play better. And this is going to be you're going to have 30 demons out, and you're going to extend them all with the current Tyrant, and you're going to give them minor damage, and you're just going to boom, and you're going to blast with all of these. Those are the kind of the two playstyles that I think you would want to see. I don't think they ever fit together on the same spec. I think they're so different that I think with the current version of Demo, imps don't hit hard enough, so the Nether Portal build loses a lot of value, and Nether Portal's a 3-minute cooldown, so it's a little rough. And so right now the demonic consumption build is a lot better because you can just juice up the Tyrant and make it hit really hard. But then again, if you buffed imp damage, maybe the Nether Portal build is too good because you don't want to consume them. You want to leave your imps out if they're doing too much damage. So there's that weird balance of like, where do you want to go with this spec? Do you want to keep it where it is, where it's a more consistent, constant CD build? Constantly making this one big demon, or you want it to be a build where it's like running a lot of demons and it's minorly buffing them, or making a lot of demons and majorly buffing them. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could play with it. I kind of want to see what they do, because I really don't like this spec is not going to play the same at all once VOP is gone, once World Vein is gone. So yeah, it's just going to lose a lot of damage and potential. So we'll see what they do. I don't really care which way they go with it, honestly. Like, I think it'll be fun either way. I think either having a lot of demons that you buff, or one demon that you're just buffing to the moon. I think it works kind of either way, as we've kind of seen from the last expansion to this expansion. But we'll see what they decide to do. But that's kind of my only thoughts on it. There's not a lot. I think it's in a good spot right now. I just don't think it'll stay there with all the things you're gonna lose. Like you're gonna lose your Azerite, you're gonna lose your essences. You're just gonna lose a lot of what's making it work right now. And I think the question really comes to is what are they gonna do to replace those things or to help keep it along and make it a decent spec. So we'll see. But yeah, there you go. There's my 8.3 guide for demonology. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I'll try and answer you best as I can. Share your thoughts and opinions on what you think should happen to Shadow or to Demo in Shadowlands. Love to see what you guys think. If you guys come up with a crazy idea, maybe that's the way I think about it, or I even might. If you guys give me an idea, I might even take it further and think about it even more crazy. Because I've thought a lot about the three specs and how they should work in conjunction with each other, where Affliction is your more spread pressure, constant, no cooldown based. Demo could be your quick cooldown, and then Destro would be your more heavy, quick burst AoE with, all CD based. However, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they go in Shadowlands. Kind of excited for it, but we will see. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching as always, and have a great day.